Welcome to the downtown studios of Cranford, New Jersey. You are here at the Commissioner's Cove. Alongside me is my man, my Ace Cool 13th Legion, and I am the Commissioner, Ricky Let Me Down, where we come together and give you guys our fantasy information, fantasy insight on how we feel the players would do or the teams would do, depending on the week and the matchups. So do me a favor, you guys sit back, relax, drink your little cafecito, smoke your little cigar, drink a little bourbon or your whiskey while you're listening to two distinguished gentlemen talk about fantasy football, which we enjoy to do. All right, welcome down to the Cove.
Commish, how'd you do this past weekend?
I don't want to talk about that. It didn't look too good. A lot of guys underperformed. It was an ugly week one. It was, for some owners, it was the same as last year. You know who you are, Lamar Jackson owners, Allen owners, or the couple of big guys.
That was a great game.
Yeah, it was. It just carried over from the following year. But there's a lot of guys out there who very underperformed. Panic meter could be high. Panic meter could be low, depending how you are. See where the panic meter is on the owners that you have in your league, and see if you can establish a trade to see if someone wants to give up on somebody or somebody wants to buy somebody based on your panic meter.
Yeah, we spoke about this, but I said maybe it's a little too early to panic. Just give it one more week. One of the things that we brought up was the fact that the preseason now is only 3 games, and starters hardly play at all. So that week one game, the last couple of years has been really sloppy sometimes.
Yeah, you know what? And it shows. It shows. Last night with J.J. McCarthy, he didn't play. I don't think he played in the preseasons, but, he picked up the slack in the second half, and he looked actually pretty decent in the second half. Now, Caleb, listen, he didn't look that good. He just didn't. For a guy to be number 1 pick overall, I know it's his second year.
If you listen to the broadcast, they were singing his praises, how, he didn't see what he wanted downfield and he took the check downs and stuff like that. But there's a lot of high-flying, high-priced receivers out there that a lot of fantasy owners have, and we don't want to see check downs to DeAndre, unless you're a DeAndre Swift fan.
Of course.
An owner. But you can't have DeAndre Swift getting everything, and DJ Moore and Colston Loveland and Adunze only getting, 8 targets for Adunze, but I saw the same thing I did last year, some uncatchable balls. So I don't know. Well, that's going to be a work in progress. I hope it gets better.
All right, we'll talk about that when we get to that game. All right, let's start off with week number 2. All right, who we feel you should start or sit. Commanders at the Packers, Thursday night game on 9/11. 24th year of 9/11. So this game, I believe it's in Green Bay. Right now it's showing clear skies. However, we were wrong last week in week 1. When we made our podcast and our show, we said it wasn't going to rain a couple of games. There was 2 rain delays, so it kind of made us look really bad. And when the game...
It wasn't rain delay.
Well,
don't be
thunder.
too hard on us. It was lightning. They don't stop a game because of rain. It's lightning, though.
The lightning delays.
But point is that always check your weather closer to the game.
Yep.
I mean, we do these shows, maybe 3-4 days, sometimes 5 days before the game. It's hard to predict weather that far in advance.
So the Commanders at the Packers. All right. Jordan Love looked good last week. Okay, it looks like Mr. Golden was not featured much. All the hype out of Matthew Golden after week 1. He's a rookie. He's going to have to take some time to get acclimated to the speed. His 4.3 speed can't get acclimated to the speed of the NFL, but totally understandable. Reed was the guy, Romeo Doubs still, and Tucker Kraft. And then what I did notice about the game was that they went to they started throwing the ball more than last year,
They may have thrown the ball more, but if you take notice, the same thing happened as last year. He's spreading the ball all around, so it's going to be whack-a-mole when it comes to who's going to be the pass catcher each week. At the beginning of the game, we thought it was going to be Kraft, then Jaden Reed, and Romeo Doubs had a couple of deep passes. I always go back to what you say, Commish. If you're number 1, you get number 1 targets.
I've always said that. It's been many years. If you are the number 1 person, you get the number 1 targets. All right, that's how I feel. That's how I will always say that. If you are the number 1, you will get the targets. So that being said, who we got starting here at the Packers? I'm a Jordan Love owner. I'm saying you start in Jordan Love, and you know what? Commanders' defense is pretty decent. All right.
They played against my Giants,
Well,
who couldn't score.
Listen, we'll
at
talk
the 3-yard line.
We'll talk about that. You know, let's not even talk about my Dolphins, but we'll talk about that game.
Listen, I'm just saying that the Packers defense looked good against a Detroit offense.
But hold on,
the linebackers look good. And although the Washington Commanders held the Giants to like 6 points and stuff like that, I think that it was against an inferior opponent. That's all.
Okay, I'm gonna say you sit Matthew Golden this week. All right, against the Commanders. The wide receivers to start with Green Bay if you have them. I'm saying Mr. Reed. Believe it or not, we haven't said that much in the last year or so, but I'm saying Reed, Tucker Kraft, if you have that tight end. Not many tight ends out there. You do start Kraft and Josh Jacobs, you start with confidence. With the Commanders, you want to go with the Commanders, obviously. Jaden Daniels, did you start with confidence? Now, this is where we get interesting here.
Well, we're starting...
Are we doing it?
Well, let's start with the running backs first.
All right.
So Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt only ran 33% of the play snaps. So, and with that, he did get 82 yards rushing. So, do you take a chance and start him this week now? Obviously, he looked explosive out there. I say go ahead and start him.
I'm starting
as a flex. I think you
Yes.
can start him. You're starting Jaden Daniels, obviously. You're starting Deebo Samuels.
What are we doing with Terry? Are we
And
tempering
then that was the other
expectations?
thing. And he did run. He was out in the field a lot, right?
He was. I think 79%.
If you have Terry McLaurin on your
routes.
team, you have to start him.
I am going to say if you have another option, I think Terry McLaurin, this game, same thing as week one. They're ramping him up. He's getting acclimated. He missed, like you said, he missed all training camp. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say you sit Terry McLaurin this week. If you have someone better, all right? And a lot of people that draft people, they might have a better option out there at wide receiver, believe it or not. But
well, they might, but
I'm saying
I think he's still within the top 24, and because he's in the top 24, I say start him.
okay. So the co-commissioner says start him. I'm saying, all right, you know what? I digress. What you do is you temper expectations on him. Don't think he's going to give you 30 points, 25. I want to go on a limb, put it on a pen and paper. I'm going to say 12 points this game for Terry McLaurin, which is not what we expect. All right, I do say start Bill as well. I do. Eckler, you temper expectations with Eckler. The guy that's running back to start there will be Bill, in my opinion. All right, next game on the docket is the Browns at the Baltimore Ravens. Partly cloudy on Sunday. Again, check your weather reports before
It's another
the game.
in-division game with the Browns, with the Bengals last week, and now with Baltimore this week.
Okay. You want to talk about the Browns because you have a lot of stock or a lot of shares.
Yeah, unfortunately,
in the
I had
Browns.
Jerome Ford in a couple of my leagues, and I started him, and that didn't work out too well. Listen, it's going to be a pot, just like with potluck when it comes to the Packers wide receivers. It's going to be potluck when it comes to the Browns running backs. Quinshon Judkins did get signed. I don't think he's going to be on the field so early.
Even if he is, like you said, he hasn't even played.
And he's still facing a possible league suspension.
He doesn't know the playbook.
No.
So why would you put him out there?
So, that's a little too early. So Jerome Ford is out there again. Dylan Sampson, Raheem Sanders. I don't know. I don't trust any of them. Dylan Sampson's probably, if you're going to, I just couldn't believe last week how many checkdowns there were between Harold Fannin and Dylan Sampson.
There goes that
I think
name.
that's 17 targets between the two of them. And this disappearing acts where Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman had a decent game. But really, you expected more downfield, especially from the Njoku. I don't know. When it comes to the running backs, I say avoid the running backs altogether. If you need a flex, I think Dylan Sampson might be worth it. I do say start Jerry Jeudy. And if I was a Njoku owner, I'd be nervous. You'd almost have to start Harold Fannin right now. But that's only one game, so we don't know if that was designed that way or not. But
He's been targeting him since training camp. I've been saying it. That guy. That's why I picked him up in a couple of leagues.
So, in my opinion, I think you should Sampson as a flex.
Yep.
Fannin as a flex, I think.
In your other tight end position. Yes, because tight ends didn't give you a lot of points. He's a tight end you could start if you have him over a guy like a rookie, believe it or not, like a Colson Loveland or so. Until you see otherwise.
You saw last week, and the reason why I'm going to say this is, this is my preface. I think you start Tillman and you start Judy only because the Baltimore. Well, they're going to be behind. Number one, you saw that Baltimore can put up points, but secondly, and I'm not saying Joe Flacco is Josh Allen, but you can throw right now on Baltimore. It looks like so you're going to have to start those wide receivers.
All right, that's fair. All right, for the Ravens, obviously you start with confidence, Mr. MVP. All right, not from last year, the year before that. You start him up, the quarterback, Lamar. You start him up. You know, I'm not a big Zay Flowers fan. I'm not whatsoever. I said, but coming off this monster game, finally, you know, is he gonna take the bull by the horns? Is he gonna cement himself in a top 10 wide receiver?
Now see, this is interesting, Kamish, because last year he really was hit and miss.
Well, this is what I'm.
Boom or bust.
Is he consistent? Is this the bust week?
Right. Let's see if it could be like last year where he's going to have boom and bust weeks, or is he going to be more consistent?
All right. I did know. I did a little research. I noticed last year it was every 2 weeks in a row he did well. Then the third week he busted. It was always 2 weeks in a row. Third week he busted. Let's see if he breaks that mold. You start Zay Flowers. You can't sit him after a monster week. Mark Andrews. Listen, he gave you a dud. I don't understand that they're from behind, and Mark Andrews didn't give you what Mark Andrews.
They weren't playing from behind most of the game.
Well, if you want to keep the lead, they kept coming out. So Mark Andrews again really wasn't that featured much like Zay Flowers was. Rashad Bateman, you sit. For some reason, I'm not understanding why they give this guy so much money and they just don't throw him the ball whatsoever. So you sit him. And of course, King Henry is who he is, who we thought he was. That's the guy you start with confidence. All right. Let's move on to the next game. The Jaguars at the Bengals.
Yeah, two teams that even though 1-1, Jaguars did not look good or crisp.
No, they did not. Trevor Lawrence, I'm not understanding. I don't know if it's the play calling. They have allegedly 2 number 1 receivers out there, a lot of short passes, a lot of screens. This isn't college. This isn't Colorado. He's not going to run away from all these defenders in the NFL. So they have to get a little bit more creative, in my opinion. Now, the good news is that Tank Bigsby was shipped off to the Philadelphia Eagles, which that's good for ATN owners as well as Michelle too. And however, if you're going to start anybody, this is the week that, you know what, you and believe me, for 2 years, I have not said anything good about ATN whatsoever. But I am saying it now. You start ATN with confidence this week against the Bengals.
Okay.
For me.
Bold.
Put that down.
I
Put that down.
Okay.
You start ATN against the Bengals because you know what? Now you have a rookie running back behind them. Now they show that they trust ATM more, okay, which is good. It's finally good that he doesn't have to worry about Bigsby behind him. So you start ATM. If you ATN owners, if you held strong in dynasty leagues, or if you drafted him this year and you have got him in the 7th round, 8th round because no one wants to touch him, this might be paying huge dividends for you. You know what? That's the way fantasy is. Every year something new. You want to talk about Brian Thomas Jr. because, you know, you own stock in Brian Thomas and you're not too happy. You're not too happy.
I'm not too happy with the way they I don't know whether it's not the way they utilize him. I don't know what Trevor's doing back there. Last year, Mac Jones peppered him at the end of the year when Trevor was out. Why can't Trevor do the same thing?
I'm not sure.
Is it the coach's decision? That's the way the plays are being drawn up or looked. But I think you're giving too much attention to, like you said, Travis Hunter's not going to run away from anyone.
No.
And he's small too. You know, he looks tiny
thin.
out there.
He's thin.
Listen, it didn't look like he was running drag routes, like he was running away from the defender. It looks like he was going into a spot in the zone, sitting there, catching the ball, and he wasn't going anywhere after that.
That's right.
And I think you're going to hurt him that way because he's going to get hit and he's going to get hurt. I agree with you with ATN. Even though the Cleveland Browns, the Bengals stopped Cleveland's run game for the most part, they didn't stop their run passing game.
Mm-hmm.
So there were a lot of passes to the backfield. So ETN could either really explode by having a nice PPR all around game.
Mm-hmm. I do too. I think so. Also, are we starting Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter? I'm saying
I'm saying you have to start Brian Thomas Jr. He was to a lot of leagues, he was a end of the first round pick.
Yeah, but you're sitting Travis Hunter. It's still a wait and see with Travis Hunter. You're still sitting him, okay? If you're playing if you have a defensive unit team, if you're playing in PPR, you put him in that PPR position unless, you know what, 9 points is 9 points. He only played a couple of percentage, a little bit as a cornerback anyway. I think he got 1 tackle. That's not enough to start him, to shoot him out there and start him. And Brendan Strange. All right.
He looked good.
Yeah, Brendan Strange. I'm saying you start Brendan Strange.
Yep. So
Okay.
I think you're
Let's
right.
not forget that. On the Bengals side of the ball, whoa. What
See,
happened?
this is
What
the
happened to
epitome
Jamar
of it's
Chase?
too early to panic.
I understand that. I mean, you're starting Chase because he was a consensus.
Yeah, Triple Crown winner.
Number
last year.
1 pick. So you are starting him, all right? Confidence, I think this is a bounce back game for him. I still think he has that pride. He has a lot of money. I can't see him going for the low points that he gave you last week. I just can't see it. I just can't. So
Let's just put it this way: Joe Burrow. All right, we're gonna get to Bryce Young later on when we do the Panthers game. But we all before we did this show, we both said that Bryce Young didn't look good.
no.
Do you realize that Bryce Young had more points than Joe Burrow?
Yeah, well,
That's crazy, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, I agree. It's going to be a bounce back game. And going back to the Cleveland game from last week, they always play them tough, and they were playing in Cleveland. This is a home game for Cincinnati. I think this is a perfect bounce back game for the both of them.
I agree. T. Higgins. I think this is a game where you start T. Higgins with confidence as well. I believe you temper your expectations with Mike Gesicki. All right, because you know Noah Fant vultured a touchdown from him. Okay, they featured Noah Fant. Might be a little sneaky pickup for you guys if you need tight end help off the waiver wire. Noah Fant. I'm not saying starting him because you know the volume isn't there. And then Chase Brown.
Chase Brown at 100% of the running back snaps.
Yep.
So listen,
You start him with confidence.
you start him with confidence, right?
Correct. And the weather for there was partly cloudy, 82 degrees, so it's going to look good on Sunday as of now while we're recording. All right, the next game on the docket, the G-Men, the New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys. Now, it's in the Dome, so you don't have to worry about anything on there. Aubrey, obviously the kicker, you start him with confidence as well. What are we doing here with the Cowboys? So Javonte Williams had a big game because we know that the defensive tackle got injured. He got 2 touchdowns.
Defensive tackle spit.
Well, they know that.
Okay.
But I'm saying is that 2 rushing touchdowns. We only have 50 yards rushing, okay? So it's like, all right, without the touchdowns, you really only got mediocre points, but you can't take that away from him. He got the 2 rushing touchdowns. You're a Giant fan. Are we looking at Javonte Williams as a must start this game against the G-Men in Dallas? Home game, first game?
I think that he is a must start only because of the lack of depth at running backs, and he's a starting running back, so you have to start him. He's not going to have the same. I would be surprised if he would have the same effect as he did last week. The defensive tackle for the Eagles went out. He got ejected from the game.
Yep.
The Giants have a strong defensive line. It's going to be tougher to run up the middle like he did against the Eagles. This might be the game that you're going to see them passing a lot more.
So, that being said, George Pickens let a lot of owners down last week in week number 1, including myself. We were expecting big things from George Pickens. They said he ran about a 35% crossing route, whereas when he played with Pittsburgh, he was just straight fly routes. So they utilize him in the middle of the field a little bit more. I mean, he did have a unrecognized air yards. Okay, he threw the ball over his head, a little pass interference. So they're targeting him in the red zone. So he would have had a touchdown. So CeeDee Lamb is a must start. We all understand that. Dak Prescott against the Giants defense, I think is a must start. George Pickens, is he a must start? What do you think? I'm saying he is not a must start. But if you do start him, you temper expectations with him.
I think it's
a boom or bust.
I think he would be a boomer bust.
Boom or bust. Okay.
And this week, I think he's boomer bust. I think it's going to be a lot of time. The Giants' pass rush is pretty good. Dak's not very mobile.
But he does get the ball out ball out of his hands pretty quick.
He does, but if he's going to get the ball out of his hands quick, he's going to CD and not having time to wait for the deeper pass to develop for Pickens. So that's why I think he's going to be a boomer bust play.
Yeah, I agree with you. If you have someone else better to play over George Pickens, again, we suggest that you start him over Pickens, and again, just wait and see with Pickens. Ferguson, are we starting Ferguson with the New York Football Giants? I do know McFadden got injured, which is their linebacker, which usually covers a tight end. So yeah, I'm saying Ferguson is a
Giants have been horrible against tight end play for the last couple of years. Yes, you definitely start Ferguson.
All right, let's talk about the G-men. Oh, this is ugly. Russell Wilson, in my opinion, I think he's a sit. You know, I think Dart. You're going to see Dart sooner rather than later. If they lose this game, I think Dart starts in week 4. They'll give him one more game before Dart comes in. But we're talking about this game. Neighbors is a must start. It's a bounce back game. You agree? You think it's a bounce back?
Well, he did have 12 targets, but I think it's going to be a more productive game for him.
All right. Are we starting? I'm Tyrone. Are we starting this guy? What are we doing? Boom or bust?
Yes, you better temper your expectations.
Is he a must sit?
I think that it's good that Micah Parsons got traded because if he was on the team, I would predict utter devastation for the Giants this week.
When I talk about the Giants, are we starting Tyrone Tracy?
Yes, that's the Giant.
Wow. Are we starting him?
Yes, we're starting Tyrone Tracy.
You're starting Tyrone Tracy.
Yes.
All right. Well, co-commissioner says start Tyrone Tracy. I am saying really temper your expectations with Tyrone because I think Scatterboo is the one to start here over Tyrone Tracy.
I think they're both going to get played, but Tyrone's a starter. What did we just say about starters?
I understand that, but I'm saying if you're looking for more productivity, I think this is the game where my man Scatterboo is going to get that touchdown. He's going to vulture it from Tyrone. That's just me. The tight ends from the Giants, you sit down, and Wan'Dale Robinson. He had a pretty decent week last week. Okay, he did. If you need wide receiver help, take a look at Wan'Dale Robinson. All right, again, he temper expectations. He's not a boom and bust. He's a little consistent player if you need some points out there. All right, the Bears at the Lions. It's in Detroit Dome. It's gonna be nice weather over there. All right, let's talk about the Bears. So the Bears last night, they came out hot. Caleb looked good. Caleb is running. Caleb is going for a touchdown. But let me tell you something. Again, we talk about the eye test. We're not very analytical here. Well, for me, you are. I'm not. I'm eyes. Listen, I kind of like my quarterbacks that drop back 3-4 step drops, knowing to read, knowing the cuts, knowing where to throw the ball sometimes. Jesus, Caleb drops back and he's looking to scramble, I say 85% of the time.
Well,
and don't tell me that the line because they upgraded that line of scrimmage.
No, I was going to say that he's not trusting what he's looking at downfield. If you watch the game, even the commentators were saying that he had open receivers. He's just not taking a chance. So maybe he's a little gun shy, and it's not because of the line. It's just he doesn't have the faith in his arm to get it there. That's the only thing I can say. Because he looked for the dump off. We said it earlier in the show.
Yeah, he did.
We had the Bears defense looked a little bit more solid, but they were going against for all intents and purposes, a rookie quarterback when his first start.
Yeah, but Minnesota's defense is good.
No, we're talking about the Bears defense.
Oh, I apologize.
And so compared to the offense, I think they're going to lean on their defense, especially in this game. Is the Lions offense as bad as it looked?
Ooh, it did look bad.
Or is the Packers defense as good as it was? That's the question we're going to have to answer in this game because that's another tough game that we're going to find out the truth. Is the Bears defense as good as it was against a rookie quarterback, essentially a rookie quarterback, or are the Lions going to bring him back down to earth?
So let's talk about the players here. Are we starting Caleb Williams?
You're starting Caleb.
Okay.
Because in all intents and purposes, when it comes down to it, you're looking at this game saying it might be a high-scoring game.
Yeah.
And if the Lions can go back to their old offense of last year and put up points, that means that Caleb and the Bears are going to be chasing points all game. Yep. They're going to be throwing the ball. I think you have to start Caleb.
All right, let's talk about the Bears' offensive players here. DJ Moore is a must start. Rome Odunze, okay, he had the plays. I think he's a number 2 look over there. I think number 1 still DJ Moore. Number 2 is Rome on certain aspect of plays. You temper expectations with Rome. I saw the game last night. I was very frustrated. I own stock in Rome. You do too as well. It's the late touchdown helped you win your game, helped maybe some fantasy owners win their games. But, the late window here, like we like to say, the NFL Network, the bewitching hour of the game. I mean, we can't keep waiting for that. All right. The tight ends. Colson Loveland, he's a rookie. He was open. So was Clement. It's just a
Yeah,
lot.
I understand Ben Johnson and loves his tight ends. He was
he
his
didn't
guy.
utilize
But, I
them.
mean, come on. Cole Kmet had an amazing catch. He's not a slouch when it comes to a good tight end. I just don't understand the reason why they drafted the Colston Loveland. And as long as Kmet's making those catches and Loveland and him are both on the field at the same time, it's, again, this is the same thing we said in the preseason. Who's going to be the guy over there?
Well, we
is
did.
it Rome? Is it DJ? Is it Zacchaeus?
Well,
Because he was featured a lot.
So let's talk about Zacchaeus. He's another sneaky pickup right there in the waiver wire. Zacchaeus, I believe, had 8 targets. He is that slot receiver role in the
Well, if he had 8 targets, you know who else had 8 targets? Rome.
I understand that. But what I'm saying is, who are we starting here? We're not starting Zacchaeus. You're starting Derek DJ Moore. You're not starting Colston Loveland. That's not what we're recommending. You're starting Swift. You're starting Caleb Williams. And
I think you still have to start Rome.
And you do have to start temper expectation with Rome. On the Detroit line side of the ball, obviously, you're starting the 2 running backs. Start with confidence. Laporta looked good last week, okay? And their linebackers, they had a backup linebacker with the Bears last week. I think their linebackers are injured as well. Their cornerbacks are injured. I think Amon-Ra Feast is here. He's a must start. J-Mo got paid. I think this is a big bounce back game for J-Mo. You start him with confidence. And the sneaky one here is Mr. Tesla. 1 catch. I don't think they feature him much. I don't think you play him, okay? What's your thoughts? For me,
I think you can start definitely Goff. You start the 2 running backs with Jahmyr Gibbs over David Montgomery, Amon-Ra.
J-Mo. You're not starting J-Mo?
You started J-Mo, but you better temper expectations. I think Laporte is going to get the more focal point than J-Mo. It's a little bit. Again, I'm only going on a 1-game sample size here. But it does look like a different offense than last year.
Of course it does. So, I'm expecting the offense with the Bears, and that wasn't showcased at all last night. All right, let's move on. New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins, my team. Let's talk about
What's the earliest the coach can get fired?
Let's talk about my Miami Dolphins. If I had a bag right now, I would put it over my head and talk about the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Because that was just an embarrassment.
I know how you feel. I'm a Giant fan.
No. We talked about this in the group chat. You keep comparing Miami to New York Giants. You guys we haven't won a playoff game in 20-something years. You've won 2 Super Bowls since then. So we don't compare, okay? Miami's on a different league, different level. All right. That being said, we talk about startums and sit-ems. You are sitting to – I'm going to talk about Miami.
Okay.
You are sitting Tua against the Patriots. I think the Patriots, even though Tua and the Dolphins own the Patriots last couple of years, they have beat them numerous times. I said, but for some reason, it seems as though there's something. If it smells like fish and it's flopping around like fish,
it must be a dead dolphin.
It must be a dead dolphin. That's what I'm saying. So you are sitting Tua. HN, you are starting with confidence. You are not starting any tight ends. And then you are Waddle. We talk about it, injury prone. 1 little hit falls on the floor. For some reason, he's in the middle of the field all over you're a temporary expectation Waddle. And you know what? With Tyreek, already he's crying after week 1. I predict Tyreek gets traded after week 3 or 4 or so. And I think Tyreek, I'm not saying he has a monster game, but I think Tyreek has a little bounce back game, in my opinion. So you do start Tyreek, okay? Temper expectation Waddle. Don't start Tua. Don't start any tight ends. We don't even know who the tight ends are. And then the running back, the only one you start. And you're sitting Ollie Gordon.
Oh my gosh! The week 1 waiver wire or late round draft pick flyer. What happened?
Because they didn't utilize them.
No kidding.
At all. All right.
Listen, honestly, you sit every Dolphin except A-Chain.
A-Chain.
That's it.
Okay.
And on the other side, the Patriots. Okay.
I mean, you guys talk about Drake May like he's the second coming of Josh Allen. I didn't see it. Okay, I'm sorry.
I don't know who you're talking about, but you're still starting Drake May. Yeah,
you are starting Drake May.
I mean, if Danny Jones put up 30-some points against the Dolphins, I think you're starting Drake May with confidence this week.
Yes, you are starting Drake May with confidence. Yes, you are. But don't make it sound like Drake May is the next coming of Josh Allen. I'm sorry.
You're just a little jealous because you got to work with Tua. But whatever. I think you got to start Drake May. You start.
Yes.
I'm trying to think who else to start. Travion looked good. I think as a flex, you put him in there, but not as a RB1 or 2.
That's fair.
Ramondre, you sit because he didn't look good at all. Although, listen, the Dolphins did give up a lot of big, running plays to Taylor and the Colts. I mean,
they give up a lot of passing plays as well. Their cornerbacks are hurt. A lot of the Dolphins cornerbacks are injured, so it's second string cornerbacks, possibly third string cornerbacks. Minka can't do everything. I'm telling you, I think the wide receiver is going to feast here. I think you start
Pop Douglas.
No, I'm saying
Booty.
Diggs. Diggs is going to eat this game. You could start Pop Douglas, but at a flex position, he's not your wide receiver 1 or 2. Might be your flex, so a little sneaky lick in there. But I think you can start with confidence. Hunter Henry, their linebackers have a tough time stopping tight ends. It's been like this for years already.
Well, I think in close, I think definitely Hunter will probably get a touchdown this week. But all around, I don't know about a big game. I don't know about 6 for 70 type of yards. But
well, there aren't many tight ends out there, so if you have Hunter Henry and a rookie tight end out there,
this might be Travion Henderson's breakout game.
Might be. It might be. That's why I'm starting him. All right, let's move on. I don't want to talk about them no more. They depress me. All right.
Speaking about a depressing team, let's talk about the Saints.
Welcome back, Cleveland. All right, let's talk about the 49ers.
What did you say? The worst 3 teams in the league this year were the Giants, the Dolphins, and the Saints.
And the Saints. Those are
this past week.
Those are the worst 3 teams. I think they're fighting for the number 1 pick. You know what? Let's
March for Arch.
I don't know about Arch, but we'll see what happens. All right, let's talk about the Saints. 49ers at the Saints right here. Listen, man, the Saints look horrible. The only good thing about the Saints is that they peppered Olave, which he almost got injured, which was a chest injury, not a concussion injury. They peppered Olave with targets. I think he had 12 targets, short intermediate passes. Rattler doesn't really throw long. We do need that, okay? So the one to start here, I'm not saying the one to start, in my opinion, with the Saints. 2 of them, the tight end, Juwan Jennings, Olave, and you know what? You better temper expectations.
Juwan Johnson's.
I'm sorry. Johnson is the tight end, and then Kamara. Kamara had 2 catches out the backfield. That's not what we're used to.
No.
That's not what we're used to.
No, we spoke about that before we did the show, and we talked about how Kellen Moore, the coach, doesn't really focus on throwing to his running backs, and that was Kamara's biggest pro.
I agree. So, you know what? You better temper expectations with Kamara here playing the 49ers. However, the 49ers are hurt in here.
If they were going to play a team this week, they got the 49ers just at the right time.
All right, you want to talk about the 49ers here?
We don't even know who might be the quarterback.
Might be Mac and Cheese Jones.
It might be Mac Jones.
And you know what that means? That means you start Pearsall with confidence because he'll pepper him all day long.
Well, who's he going to pepper? Ricky
Pearsall.
Yeah, you didn't
he's a
say
must
that.
start.
So he's the last guy. I think he's the only guy, the last man standing. It's going to be a McCaffrey and Ricky Pearsall show. For the 49ers, I think those are the only 2 guys that you start with confidence.
I agree. Those are the only 2 guys over there with the 49ers and Saints. Let's move on. All right, the Bills at the New York Jets. Jets might be 0-2 like the Dolphins, same old Jets.
I know, but talk about they might be the highest scoring 0-2 team in the league.
You keep talking about that. It doesn't matter. A loss is a loss. You lose by 1 or you win by 56.
Hey, I'm just saying.
It is what it. Who cares how you lose?
It's going to be competitive. That's all I'm trying to say.
We'll see what happens.
This may not be the blowout that it was prior to what we saw in the first game. I don't care about that.
I care about fantasy points. Let's talk about the fantasy guys.
Well, hey, let
me
just tell you this. The offensive coordinator for the Jets also came from the Ben Johnson tree. He was with Detroit last year. Right. He looked better in his offense than Ben Johnson did with Chicago.
Because, you know what, are you saying that Justin Fields is better than Caleb Williams? Is that what you're telling me? He did look better, though. He did look better in fantasy world.
Well, you know what? I will say this.
He did look better.
He took off. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. But I'll tell you, with throwing the ball, He knew who he wanted to throw the ball to.
Yeah, Gary Wilson.
Caleb was all over the field. Do I throw to DJ? Do I throw to Rome? Do I throw to Zacchaeus? Do I dump off to Swift? There was no hesitation with Fields, though. He knew what he wanted to do.
I think Caleb wants to just keep everybody happy. It's hard to do that when you have all stars all across the board.
Listen, you're the quarterback. You make decisions, and that's it.
That's right.
What's the bottom line? Win the game.
Win the game. Just win, baby. All right.
So I say with the Jets, you're starting Justin Fields.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people didn't, especially in redraft, probably pick him up as within the draft, but he might be the top waiver wire ad this week.
Who?
Justin Fields.
People took him.
They may not have. If he's out there, definitely go pick him up, but or try to pick him up.
Mm-hmm.
But you're starting Garrett Wilson.
Yes.
You're starting Breece Hall, who looked dominant. And you're starting Justin Fields.
Yeah, I think that's it. But the Bills, it was King Henry last week. It's hard to stop him. Bills defense looked pretty good, but
they didn't look good against the run. And if there's one thing the Jets have been wanting to do, and they said it in the preseason, is that they will be running the ball this year.
All right, we'll see what happens. All right, those are the guys that start over there for the Jets. With the Bills, obviously, the man that carries your team, all right, to the promised land, Josh Allen. We all know. All right, the second guy to start. You know what? You predicted Keon Coleman have a good week. He did have a good week. Are we starting Keon Coleman with confidence? Is he the true number one? Is he emerging, or has he taken the number one position over Shakir?
No. Well, I don't know if you would say taking the number one position away. I mean, Josh Allen does really trust Shakir, and he is the guy who's going to be across the middle and probably get the majority of the targets.
Yeah.
Keon Coleman is the more let's go deep type of guy. So no, I don't think he's done it yet, but I think it's a good combination that they both have.
Yeah.
And Dalton Kincaid looked like he did a couple years ago, so I don't know how that plays into it. So, but I think you're starting all three of those guys, and you're starting Josh Allen, and you're starting James Cook, who looked decent.
He looked good. He looked like he just picked up where he left off last year. So, yep, those are the guys that start over there with the Jets.
And the Jets defense looked a little porous against. Yeah. They didn't do. I mean, they just looked porous defensively, secondary wise. They did stop the run for the most part.
Yeah, but
Jaylen Warren didn't really have a good game.
We're talking about Jaylen Warren here, you know. Okay, we know Jaylen Warren. He's not he is a starter, like you like to say. He is a starter. I get it, but I don't know. It's the same thing. We know his ceiling. All right. Let's talk about the next game. Seahawks at the Steelers. Speaking about Jaylen Warren, partly cloudy. Doesn't look like it's going to rain on Sunday. For now, check the weather, please. Steelers here. Oh wow. Aaron Rodgers made a statement last week against the Jets.
Yeah, he's not done yet.
He said he's not done. He's got a lot of juice left. All right, Aaron Rodgers. I say you start him. He looked comfortable, pretty decent with the Steeler offense.
I mean, after last week's game, you have no choice but to start him. I mean,
so do I.
4 touchdowns, and no interceptions.
Yeah. You start. Believe it or not, is Aaron Rodgers back? So you start him with confidence. DK Metcalf. You start. You know what? You start if you don't have anybody out there. Little Calvin. What is Calvin Austin? Yeah. Correct. You saw a little Calvin Austin out there. Freiermuth here, listen, he's been around a long time, okay?
It seems like he's been around a long time.
I don't know about Freiermuth. Again, if you have nobody else to start, then you start him. But I'm saying try to find somebody else for the tight end position. All right, I'm saying, sit Freiermuth for this one here. Jonnu Smith, you could start. He's another little streaming little tight end. He'll give you some points.
Well, I don't know. I mean, last year they both weren't really effective.
Well, yeah, Jonnu was with the Miami Dolphins, but not with this team.
Okay, but this is Arthur Smith's offense right here.
I know, but
Kenny Gainwell was getting touches, and Caleb Johnson, the rookie. I think you might as well just sit him. I mean,
you don't play him.
If you have room on your bench and you want to keep him for the second half of the year, fine. But I mean, honestly, right now, if you need space for a waiver wire pickup, I think you can cut him.
Well, in a redraft league, yes. In a dynasty, you hold on to him.
No, absolutely, yes.
That's what you do. All right, that's what we have with the Steelers. With the Seahawks, all right. Listen, Sam Darnold, he peppered JSN. JSN is a must start. Okay. Cooper Kupp. Is Cooper Kupp done? Is he done?
He didn't look explosive at all.
I'm sitting Cooper.
I'm sitting Cooper. JSN is the only one I'm starting.
The running backs. It's a 50-50 split behind there over there, the Seahawks. Right now, Charbonnet looks like the more explosive back. If you're asking me who to start, you might as well start Charbonnet over Kenny Walker, because it seems
that's saying something.
It is tough because you know what? It seems like he's a third down back and the goal line back. It seems like Kenny Walker is getting just the first 2 carries and the first two downs, and then if he doesn't do anything, Charbonnet comes in the game. No, I apologize. Kenny Walker's been getting the ball more catches out the backfield, but it seems though they trust Charbonnet in a third down role, but they don't throw him the ball for some reason. And the goal line is Charbonnet. So it's a mess, what I'm trying to say to you guys. If you're going to start anybody...
It is a mess, but you want to know something? If you were going to wait one more week for Kenny Walker, I think this is the week. Breece Hall looked rejuvenated against Pittsburgh last week. I think Kenny Walker, if he's going to have a bounce-back game, this might be the game to have it in.
All right, that's fair. Well, you know what? I'm going to go with the co-commissioner because I own share in Kenny Walker. I'm going to
music to your ears.
I'm going to start him one more week. You know what? You guys make that decision. Obviously, if you have both of them on your team like I do, it's a tough decision, but I'm going to give him one more week to see how it plays out. I think, they still want to feature Kenny Walker. Either, you never know, maybe trade bait, who knows? So I think they're still going to feature him. All right, and the tight end, A.J. Barner, you sit down, you only got 2 catches, all right, or 2 targets or so, 2 catches. He didn't do much at all. All right, next game, Rams at the Titans. Ooh, here we go, Sunday. It's at Tennessee. It's clear, all right, as of now, clear, 87 degrees. Hot. All right, so what are we doing here? Calvin Ridley. Is this Calvin Ridley's bounce back game? I'm going to say, yeah, this is Calvin Ridley's bounce back game. Last week was a tough matchup against a pretty good secondary. Calvin Ridley, a lot of owners are disappointed how he does. However, we talked about that, and I feel as though I've been saying it for many years. Your number one gets the ball no matter what.
Yeah, but you can't drop the ball.
I agreed, but that was late in the game. Can't drop the ball. Totally understandable. CeeDee Lamb dropped the ball. He's still number one, still got the ball. So that's what I'm saying. You still got to feature the guy. Okay,
Calvin Ridley's not CeeDee Lamb. But I understand what your philosophy is.
Your number one receiver gets the ball.
He is the number one receiver. It's not like Cam Ward threw the ball a lot. They ran the ball because I think they knew their secondary with Denver's defense it was going to be, just too good for them to compete against. They had no choice towards the end but to throw the ball. Ridley did miss a few. The Rams' defensive secondary is not as good as Denver's. So, yes, I can see a bounce-back game by Ridley. Another guy out there who might be a sneaky start might be Alec Ironmanner, maybe for a flex play if you need some points over there. Definitely start Pollard, and you sit Cam Ward.
Yes, those are the ones. All right, with the Rams, you are starting Puka Nacua. He has left off for the last 2 years. He's a stud. He's a must start. Devontae Adams, I think, is a start because I think it's his bounce back year. I don't think the tight end. Why am I drawing a blank on the tight end?
Ferguson,
not Ferguson. The other one, Higbee. I think Higbee, you sit down. Okay, they're not really featuring him at all. You sit down Ferguson. They're not featuring him. Kyren Williams, you start with confidence, and then Mr. Stafford. Let's not shoo away the Titans' defense here because Simmons is a big boy over there. If you have, everybody usually has 2 quarterbacks on their team anyway. It might be a better matchup than Stafford on your team. I don't think Stafford throws for 4 touchdowns this game. It seems as though he hasn't really thrown for many touchdowns in a long time.
No, one of the things with Puka is that, he'll catch a lot of balls, but he doesn't catch a lot of touchdowns.
Right.
I think it's going to be more Kyren Williams show.
Yeah, so do I. I think they're going to run the ball down. They're going to try to run the ball down the Titans' throat. They do have a good run defense, though. So you you start those guys and you sit the ones that we just talked about. All right, next game, Panthers at the Cardinals. All right. Kyle Murray. Kyle Murray gives you 20 points, believe it or not. I don't know where it comes from, but he does.
Amazing.
It's not like
he doesn't look. We watched the game. It's like, how?
He's not sexy. He's not chocolate cake. He might be. I don't know what he is. I don't know. He might be
He might be vanilla pudding.
Right. He might be a ham sandwich, and then you put in balsamic glaze on it to make it taste better. Something like that. All right. That's what he is. He's not chocolate cake. He'll get you 20 points.
You're not going to be invited to play Call of Duty with him.
But he's not. He's not that guy. But he is the guy on fantasy. For some reason, you plug and play. You put him in there. He's going to give you 20 points. That being said, you start him. You start him against the Panthers. Panthers defense not that great. And, is Marvin Harrison, was this his coming out party? I say you start Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride. All right. And what are we doing with the running backs? It seems as though they were giving Connor is still the 1A plus.
Listen, it wasn't a very productive game for Connor, but hey, the coach, true to his word, he did play both of them.
Right. So you do start with Connor. If you don't have another running back, okay, on your team, and you need a little flex, or you need somebody to put in there, and people got hurt for you, Benson's not a bad start. Okay, he's not a bad start. He'll give you. He won't give you a 0.
I don't know if you should start Benson, but you definitely start on Connor.
Yep. So those are the guys over there with the Cardinals. Panthers. You want to talk about your
Bryce Young did not look good.
Horrible.
He looked a lot better in the preseason, but we know how vanilla that can be.
Terrible.
But I think Tet looked decent out there.
He looked okay.
But the way Bryce goes is the way Tet's going to go. So you know what? Bryce is going to have to get better. There's really no target competition. There was really no other wide receiver out there. So I think you start Tet with confidence. I think you got to start Bryce because you just need to. Tet needs him. And you start definitely Chuba Hubbard, who definitely looks like he just picked up from last year.
I agree. Those are the only ones to start. Don't forget, Cardinals defense pretty decent. And you know what? They that lockdown rookie cornerback played well last week against the Saints, but it's the Saints and Spencer Rattler. So we'll see how that goes. Does he shadow McMillan? Listen, McMillan's tough. He's 6'5". He's a big guy. So we'll see what happens with him. Let's see if he can get open. Let's see if it's true to word. I believe Steve Smith said in the offseason that he doesn't see the separation on a big guy the way he is.
Listen, I think last week was the home opener for the Carolina Panthers. Bryce may have been a little
nervous
a little. I think the pressure's going to be off him going to Arizona.
What nervousness? This is it. You've been here before. Act like you've been here before.
You forget though, these are still young men. Young.
All right. That's
22, 23-year-old guys do get nervous.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the next game. Broncos at the Colts. Ooh, is Danny Nichols, because I will not give him his respect even though he blew out my Dolphins. I get it. We're talking about the Dolphins secondary. Now, if Danny Nichols turns around and gives you 2 touchdowns and runs in for 2 touchdowns against the Broncos, I tell you what, you're gonna write this.
You promote his name?
I will promote his name. I will call him Danny Dimes.
Now, what does he have to do to do that?
All right, give me 2 touchdowns and run for 1 touchdown.
Oh my God,
all right,
3 touchdowns.
Then I tell you what, you give me 20 points and I'll call you Danny Dimes.
20 fantasy points.
20 fantasy points.
20. I'll write that
20 down.
20 points
from Danny Nichols. I will not call him Danny Dimes. I just can't do it. I can't. You can't do it. All right, let's talk about the Colts. I'm saying you sit Danny Nichols down. Pittman is the one to target here. Downs. It seems as though he didn't even look Downs' way. Okay, we were expecting big things from Downs. I'm saying you're going to sit Downs and it's a wait and see. It's almost like week 1 for Downs.
No, I think the targets that would have went to Downs went to Tyler Warren.
Yes, I was about to say you start Tyler Warren. Warren looks good. You're going to pepper him like we've always said. I think he's going to start. He's going to pepper Tyler Warren and he looked good. What about the run game? You're going to start Jonathan Taylor, obviously. All right, and
you start Taylor, Pittman, and Warren.
That's it.
And I think that's it.
What about the Broncos? What's your take on Bo Nix game 1? Was he the guy where people draft him really, really high? No, he's not.
He disappointed game 1.
Yeah.
Here's another guy who I think Bryce Young had more fantasy points than Bo Nix. He made stupid decisions out there. We watched the game for the most part. I didn't understand some of the throws he was making. It looks like he was really focusing on trying to get it to Cortland Sutton.
It seems like he featured him more. Like
he wanted to, but he doesn't need to. And I think, I will say this. As bad as their run game was last year, it looked worse this year.
I don't know about that.
I know they had, listen, you take away R.J. Harvey's big run, you take away Dobbins' big run, what did they really get?
They got 2 big runs.
That's it. Exactly.
But not many teams did well with the run game.
I think that the way Bo Nix goes is how successful their run game is going to go. So pick a guy and stick with him. Stop with the 3-4 backs rotation. Give it to one guy 60% of the time, the other guy 40% of the time, and then I think I would feel more confident with Bo Nix.
Okay, so I'm going to go on and say the one to start here with the Broncos is J.K. Dobbins. I think they trust him. He's the veteran. I think he's the guy with the goal line. They want to bring in R.J. Harvey, yes, but R.J. Harvey, if he breaks a big run, I think that's That's the only way he gets a touchdown. They're not going to feature him. And then you're bringing in the third down back, which is Beatty. Okay, McLaughlin got
Beatty, who got 6 targets when he was in there.
Exactly. So,
I thought R.J. Harvey was the guy that you were giving the targets to.
This is the problem with Peyton. Okay, I thought R.J. Harvey was going to be the pass catching back, but he's not. It seems as though Beatty was week 1, and he's just going to be a mess. J.K. Dobbins is as of now, he's the most consistent running back. You start him with confidence. You start Sutton with confidence. Bo Nix, you start here. Okay, you do start Bo Nix.
I do agree with you. Okay. As bad as he looked last week, I think you have to start him this week.
Then Ingram is injured, so you sit Ingram, and you better take a replacement in the waiver wire. Okay, we talk about those streamers that we talked about a couple of games ago.
Could you see more of Marvin Mims because Ingram is out?
Yes, but I'm not starting Marvin. I don't trust Marvin Mims. I'm not going to put him in my starting lineup. But yes, you might get some points on the bench and say I should have started him. But you know what? What are we doing here? We're chasing points. I think they probably lean on the run game a little bit more Sutton, and maybe Troy Franklin. Okay, that's just me.
All right, next game.
All right, next game. Eagles at the Chiefs. All right, it's a good game here. Ooh, this is a tough one. It's Sunday.
Super Bowl matchup.
Yes, it is. The Chiefs. All right, now they're going to have the defense tackle back. So the Chiefs. All right, I'm going to say this. I am not
You're now starting Pacheco.
I'm not starting Pacheco. The Pacheco, the running back, the running back room in the Chiefs, organization is a mess, in my opinion. What are we doing here? Pacheco comes in for first down. Hunt comes in for second down. He stays in for third down. The next series, Hunt starts. Pacheco comes in.
Brashard Smith mixed in there.
It is an absolute mess. You are sitting Pacheco down. You are sitting Kareem Hunt down. Now, you might start Kareem Hunt over Pacheco because he is the more featured goal line back, and you might hope for a touchdown. Okay, you're sitting Brashard Smith down to see how they're going to utilize him here. The one to start here is, believe it or not, Hollywood Brown is the one that you're going to want to start here.
Yes, Hollywood Brown, Mahomes, and Kelsey. I think those are the three.
Those are the only 3 that you're starting on that Chiefs team. You want to talk about the Eagles here?
Well, no, I think that when it comes to them, it's the same old thing from last year. It's Hurts and Barkley. A.J. Brown was an afterthought. Devontae Smith was on the milk carton somewhere.
He sure was. He was missing.
I don't think as long as they run the ball effectively, which I think is going to be tougher to do against a Chiefs defense. So they might get a little bit more play down the field, but I wouldn't feel too confident in all of that. I'm sticking with Barkley and Hurts.
So are you sitting AJ Brown?
I know we can sit AJ Brown, but you definitely temper expectations for the 2 wide receivers.
What about the tight end?
Where was he? Where was Dallas Goedert?
He got a couple of catches, but again,
couple of catches.
Yeah, temporary expectation with Dallas Goedert. If you have a better option at the tight end position, you start him over Dallas Goedert. But if you don't, if he's all you have, then you got to start him. But you know what?
As long as that run game is working like it was last year, they're not changing the way they operate.
And then Mr. Tank Bigsby got traded to the Eagles. So listen, it's going to take him a little while to learn the offensive playbook. I don't know. I don't think he might be in there just to spell Saquon a little bit.
No, I don't think so. Unless Shipley is hurt that bad with his ribs, I don't think.
So Saquon is the guy there. Listen, you're in good hands with Saquon. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
Let's go next game, Falcons at the Vikings. All right. The Vikings, wow. The first 2 quarters were a mess for J.J. McCarthy's first NFL game in Chicago.
Yep.
Grew up a Chicago fan. Obviously, if you watch the game, that's what they talked about. He's a Chicago Bears fan. At the first 2 quarters, he looked a little scared. He looked like a rookie. Then the second half, he started coming off. He really did. Is he we don't know how he's going to be. Is he a guy that's going to take off and start running and using his legs? Because if he is, he moves up the ranks here. Okay, then he becomes a must-start candidate here. Really, really must-start candidate.
Well, this is going to be a good test for him.
Yes.
I mean, surprisingly, the Falcons did well against Tampa Bay last week. And only lost by Yankuku missed field goal.
Which they replaced him right now. They're bringing up another
I heard Parker or something Romo, I believe they signed. But, so this is going to be an interesting game for the Vikings.
Yeah.
All is not lost with Justin Jefferson. Because McCarthy did redeem himself in the second half. I don't think the Falcons' defense is going to be as tough as the Bears' defense was. So we're going to get to see a little bit more passing from McCarthy, I think.
Okay. That's fair. Justin Jefferson is a must start. He's a stud.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you're going to start,
He's a
it's going to be Jefferson.
And temper expectation with Hockenson.
I think you temper, but I think you have to start him.
You do have to start. You know who you do start? Mason looked good. Mason was a power back. Even Aaron Jones looked pretty decent out there. You start those two guys.
I think they do well together.
Yeah.
I mean, when they're not like Aaron Jones almost had a deep ball down the left sideline. If it wasn't for a pass interference call, that would have been, I think, a 40-yard game. But yeah, I think both of them look good. I think he both starts.
Yep. All right, with the Falcons, Drake London is nursing that AC joint injury or sprain.
And as of right now, we don't know if he's playing.
Right. We don't know if he's playing, but if he is playing, listen, you're gonna have to temper expectation with that AC joint because one hard pop that's coming. It's gonna it might get re-aggravated, re-injured. Why would you put your star wide receiver out there, let him rest a week or so? I don't think he's playing this week.
I don't think so either. I think they're going to err on the side of caution. You know, they still have some weapons. I mean, their wide receiver core does take a hit because they don't have Darnell Mooney. They're going to have Ray McCloud, and they're going to have, oh my goodness, I forget his name escapes me right now, the other wide receiver. But as long as you have Bijan and Kyle Pitts.
I think Kyle Pitts is a star here.
Kyle Pitts is definitely a start.
I haven't said that in 3 years. I think Kyle Pitts is a must start in this position here. I really do. And then Bijan, and then Penix. Penix, he has a strong arm. He's a powerful arm. If they're down, okay, they have a good defense, Minnesota. So be careful with that. All right, he might take a sack here or there because he doesn't have his number one receiver.
They're going to be down probably Blake Cashman, a good linebacker. So that's going to hurt them. Bijan might take advantage of that.
Yeah, a lot of screens.
Yeah, a lot more screens. I mean, he didn't do great when it came to rushing the ball, him or Tyler Rozier, but he had 100 yards receiving.
Listen, I've said it to you when we were watching the game on Sunday. There are a lot of coordinators that do not utilize the screen game. I've noticed that, but Atlanta does because they know this guy can take off with that ball and go to the house. All right, next game. The last two games on the docket here, both Monday night games.
Two Monday night games,
One starts at 7 p.m., the other one at 10 p.m. on Monday night. Both of them are dome, so you don't have to worry about the weather. Not to worry about that. The Buccaneers at the Texans. Texans are a little mess here. Okay, Nico Collins,
did not address their offensive line problems from last year, and it's affecting C.J. Stroud, and that in turn is going to affect Nico Collins and Jaden Higgins.
I've noticed that Stroud tries to take the 7-set drop to let those long routes develop down the field for Nico, and he does not have the time to do it. All right, that's going to affect Nico Collins. All right, I hate to say this, but you're going to have to temper expectations with Nico Collins this week. I mean, you do start him and hope and pray to give you the Nico Collins numbers. But, man, that offensive
Well, listen,
line,
if they can give C.J. Stroud just a little bit more time.
I don't know about that.
I mean, Drake London did do well against Tampa Bay's secondary. I expect Nico to do the same. Yeah. The question is, and I agree with you, I don't know if they can give him enough time.
Listen, you said Drake London did well, you said?
Yeah.
Because they have a better line than the Texans.
That's why I said they can give him a few more seconds.
I don't know about that.
They have no run game to speak of.
Because they're not consistent with the run game. Again, I just talked about that. Listen, there's no sweeps for the most part. They probably don't have the speed for the sweeps.
Not anymore, right.
But they don't look to throw the ball at the backfield. He's looking more to feed Nico, and they know that. Teams
if you don't have the speed, and I think you're going to have either you're going to keep those backs in the block to help block, or you're going to have to change them out and put speed out there so you can have more dump off passes. Either way, the fact that they didn't use Woody Marks last week
at all,
and they used Ogunleye, who had that big fumble at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And yeah, I get it. He was their go-to guy last year, and they trusted him. And I'm not saying he's a bad NFL player. I'm just saying you got Woody Marks for a reason. Go with the speed and go with the youth and go with the quick passes out of the backfield. Agree. You're going to have to do something different.
So, Stroud, listen, I'm saying sit in Stroud. I'm saying, you know what, temper expectation. Nico, you do not start any running back for no Nick Chubb. Okay, he is maybe standard. He's not going to, if he doesn't give you a touchdown, it's going to give you 0 points.
Well, Buccaneers shut down the run offense of Atlanta, and they had Bijan and Algier, and Damian Pierce and Nick Chubb are not those two.
Way.
So they're not going to have any problem stopping those guys with the running the ball. And unless the Texans can give C.J. Stroud some time, this is going to be a big blowout for Tampa.
And they also lost, I believe, one of their tight ends with a broken foot.
Cade Stover went out with a broken foot.
So he's out. So you know what? No tight end, you start there. Higgins, you're not really starting Higgins at all. All right, let's go to the Buccaneers. Mayfield, you are starting. Ooh, the rookie Ibuka looked good.
He called. Did you see that? He called that touchdown to win the game.
Well,
they said they wish they had him mic'd up, or they had the mic in the huddle because he called it in the huddle.
Let's not annoy him the next Jerry Rice. Let's slow down a little bit, all right? Let's slow down.
I just love the confidence.
Let's slow down, all right? 1 game, 2 touch. I get it, but let's see what happens. Because if the next game he gives you 2 points, you're anointing him all right, Elijah Moore.
Let's see.
Let's slow down.
Can I go out on the line here? He'll get 2 touchdowns against the Texans defense.
Put it down. Let's see. All right, Ibuka, you're starting with confidence. Evans, you're starting with confidence. All right, and Bucky, you're starting with confidence. And no tight end, no Cade Otton.
No.
You're not starting Cade Otton. Okay, let's move on to the next game. The last game on the docket here. That's it.
It's a good last game. Chargers against the Raiders.
It is a great last game. You know what? Geno Smith looks good. I think he's the only quarterback threw for 300 yards or so. 1 touchdown, so it's not really.
He's not the only quarterback for 300 yards.
It seems like he was the loudest 300 because he played for his new team. So you know what? He did pretty well. He was moving the ball around. Jacoby Myers is the guy to start there. He looked at Brock Bowers is hurt. So you know what? A sneaky little start if you don't have a guy from, let's say, Houston or whatever. Or
Michael Mayer.
Michael Mayer is the guy. If you pick off the waiver wire, you could start him. I think he'll be a nice little start for you. I'm saying start him over the Chargers. Start him in the Charger game. What are we doing with Ashton Jeanty? We are starting him. Yes, we are. Temper expectations?
I think it was a disappointing week for all rookie running backs this past week. Yeah. But you are starting him and starting with confidence.
Okay.
Just like O'Marion on the other side of the ball.
That's correct. I think that's pretty much it for the most part. You're not starting Trey Tucker here. He doesn't get enough volume. And the rookie wide receivers, you're not starting Deontay Thornton. You're not starting Jack Bash. You're starting just Meyer. I think listen, you threw for 364 yards to somebody, so those are the guys that start. All right, with the Chargers, you're a big Charger guy. You're
starting Justin Herbert. You're starting Marion Hampton.
Yeah.
You're starting Quentin Johnson. Ooh. And Ladd McConkey.
And Keenan Allen. Don't forget about Keenan Allen. Yes, you are starting Keenan Allen.
As a flex?
Yes, you are.
You might sneak in there as a wide receiver too.
Yes.
I think he did pepper them.
Yes, I think you start Keenan Allen. I'm telling you.
This might be a game where it does get to be high scoring. They both had. I mean, the Raiders always play the Chargers tough, and they always upset them. It always seems they always upset them. But I think this is a little different Chargers offense. I think they're more well rounded and they have more weapons. So this could be a fun last game of the week.
Yeah. Are we starting on Marion Hampton or temper expectation on Marion? Are you starting him or are you sitting him down?
No, I'm starting him.
All right, you're starting on Marion Hampton. He got a lot of carries. So I'm hoping he breaks off and does well, maybe get you a touchdown and start utilizing him in the passing game a little bit more. I think that'll be great.
I think that's the only thing that's missing from that game. I mean, there were so many times that I saw Herbert keep looking down the field, and I give it to him. He does. I mean, obviously he's got the arm. He wants to throw it downfield, but Hampton was open to flat at least 5 times that I saw.
I agree with you.
He doesn't want to dump it off.
He doesn't want to dump it off. All right. That being said, that is your week number 2 startums, and who to start, who to sit, who to temper expectations, how we saw the games from last week, how our visual analytics.
Come on, get it out, Kamish. We got to wrap this up.
You're
that's too busy trying to fumble in with the words.
All right.
I know it was a tough week for you in fantasy. Come on.
So, you know what? Hopefully you guys enjoy the show. Like, comments, whatever you guys want to do. If you want to say anything, you want to impose a question, if you feel different, leave a comment below. Good luck on your week number 2 matchups, unless you're playing the co-commissioner or myself. You guys have a good night. Bye.